It's hard to deal with the tough stuff like career setbacks, family chaos, unfair treatment, financial worries, and loss. It's important to build emotional resilience to handle your feelings of anger and fear, shame and sadness that usually follow those events. In this video, I'll help you develop the mindset that how you choose to view life circumstances has the power to determine the course of your life. In other words, how you choose to reframe your life shapes your life far more than what happens to you. So stick around and I'm going to show you how to get started. Life comes at us fast and furious. What can you do to calm your frantic mind and cope after a negative experience? That's called emotional resilience. And let me break it down. Emotions are a gift from God. They're sources of information about what we're thinking and what drives our behavior. Emotions aren't wrong or right, and it's not inappropriate to express them. Resilience is a capacity God creates in each one of us. It's a grace and an inner force or trait that stabilizes us through the downsides of life. It varies from person to person and can be strengthened to help us move forward after adversity. What's important about this is that life's circumstances trigger difficult feelings that we'd rather deny, stuff, numb, or run away from. And when we do that, we miss important insights that help us reframe even the worst. And that's important because, remember, how you choose to reframe your life shapes your life. I'm going to share a very personal example with you. My relationship history is tough and a little bit embarrassing to talk about. Through most of my life, I was in relationships that didn't last, where either I was the one left devastated or I was the one doing the hurting. My divorce was an enormous setback that deeply hurt my husband and me. And I'm sure you'll respect that the details are private, but the point is that by the time I was 49 years old, I was divorced with no children and beginning another wrong relationship. Bouncing from one relationship to another wasn't a good strategy to build emotional resilience. It was emotional disaster, and I was in a pattern doomed to repeat itself. But God had other plans for me, and He put some wise counselors and spiritual advisors on my path. So I want to share with you 4 steps I learned to take to help me reframe my life, and that has shaped my life into the wonderful one I live today. The first step is to take the risk to be honest with yourself. Where are you in life right now? What's the state of your health, your relationships, your finances, your career, and your spiritual life? Remember, emotions are God's gift that inform us about what we're experiencing. What are you feeling? Anxious? Upset? Depressed? Are you feeling angry? How are those emotions interfering with your ability to make good decisions and live a full, good life? My pain point was my relationships. I started this step about being honest with myself by making a list of all the men I'd been with, how we met, what was good and bad about the relationship, why and how it ended. And I'll admit that brought on a lot of shame and anger and regret. But a pattern was clear, and that led me to the next step. Step 2 is to identify where you have failed. Now, it's really no secret, at least not between you and Jesus. Failure doesn't mean you're a bad person or that you're unloving or unlovable. It does mean you're human, but that's good news because you can learn from your mistakes. You can ask for and give forgiveness and try again. But I want to be clear about something. I'm not talking about accepting responsibility for being abused or violated in any way. That first step I mentioned, to risk being honest with yourself, may have revealed the impacts of some traumatic experiences you've endured. But this second step, identify where you failed, is not to assume responsibility for harm done to you by another person. Now back to my experience in step 2. I realized that it takes 2 people in a relationship. And without a doubt, the men I chose to be involved with played a part in our misery. It isn't easy to admit, but my selfishness and neediness was a cause of a lot of pain and some other serious consequences. Still, it was a relief when I started to talk with a counselor and a spiritual advisor about my mistakes. And because they received my history, my story with respect and compassion, instead of feeling discouraged or humiliated, this unfamiliar and really powerful feeling of hope began to grow. And it was that hope that really supplied the energy I needed to reshape my life. Now that's where step 3 comes in, to stop comparing and to claim your unique journey in life. The fact that my cousin is happily married with 3 great kids and 2 beautiful grandchildren could distract me and cause me to focus on all the things I've missed. And if I do that, then I'm trying to copy her life rather than shape my own. God deliberately made me unique. He created me with a plan and a purpose that's different from my cousin and from everyone else. There's nothing wrong about my feeling sadness and regret. I miss having my own kids and grandkids. But you know, focusing on what other people have that I don't have prevents me from reaching for all the blessings and gifts that God has prepared just for me. And that takes me to step 4. Name your accomplishments and victories and accept them for the gifts and blessings they are. I've enjoyed a terrific leadership career. I'm healthy and I'm remarried to the love of my life. I've stopped smoking and drinking alcohol, and if you've ever shared those habits, you know that's victory. Coming to my senses and to stop making poor relationship decisions was a victory. It was an accomplishment to attend a weekend healing retreat to face my guilt and my shame. Big and small, God has put people in your life, opportunities in front of you that prove He loves you and will never abandon you. You have strengths and you have been successful. Build on them to shape your life ahead of you. Now, before I recap these 4 steps on how to build emotional resilience, I want to point out a previous video that covers a helpful exercise to get you started, and I'll put the link in the description below. So here are the 4 steps to build emotional resistance. First, take the risk to be honest with yourself. Second, identify where you have failed. Third, stop comparing and claim your unique path in life. And 4, name and claim your accomplishments and victories. If you get going on just a few of these steps, you'll build your emotional resilience to recover from anything that's keeping you down or holding you back. That's because emotions can be your teacher. Looking back strengthens you for today, and how you choose to reframe your life shapes your future. We're on the journey to a good life together, and I hope you'll call me my mentor, Jane. Thanks for watching.